Hi guys, welcome back to Tabletop Chat. My name is Timileto, and for those of you who are new here, I am a property analyst here at Vantage Properties, and welcome guys. I do hope that you do like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have so much content about property, all things real estate, all things property. This is what we are here to talk about. We are here to inform you so that you make the right property decisions that are informed and that will help you be able to mitigate your. So today I'm going to be simply talking about the property costs, the costs that you are likely to come across when you are buying your first home, or not even your first home, when you're actually buying a property, when you're investing in a property. So do stay tuned as we continue, and yeah, let's get started. So I actually have a list here of the things that you need to take into consideration, things that you need to budget for when you're actually purchasing a property. So I'll be looking at it from time to time, and yeah, right. The first thing that normally I would suggest, one of the fees that come up every time when somebody buys a house is the valuation, structural engineer and agents fees. So I normally call these professional fees simply because you have to pay a professional to actually do it, to actually do them. And right, so valuation fees and agents fees. The valuation fees are based on the market value of a property. So when you are buying a house or an investment property, you have to bring a valuation, a property valuation. It informs you of the market price, the gross replacement value. So because you have to pay for somebody to actually do that, you have to get somebody who's a professional that's registered with the RIB, and to actually do it, you have to pay that person. So for instance, if you are buying a property that is worth $1 million, you are likely to pay 2.9 around that. And for a structural engineer, guys, I will say this again. I know I've said it in the previous videos. For those of you who have actually not watched them, I'll insert a link up there so that you can go check it out. And yeah, anyway, a structural engineer is a person who actually will help you assess the structure of that particular property. They'll assess it in terms of was it built to the proper standards? Will it be able to resist the conditions going forward? Does it have any cracks and so forth? So you actually, I'd advise that you get this person, because a lot of us actually don't do this. It's not necessary, unlike valuation fees, where if you're going to transfer your property you need a valuation, and if you're using a bank you also need a valuation. So it's not compulsory, but it is very much advisable. Why am I saying this? Because a lot of the times, especially in areas like Tolofelo East, people buy properties there only to find out that these properties have structural defects. And if you've already bought it and it has these structural defects, you cannot return to the sender, or you cannot return it back to the person who built it or who sold it to you. It is yours. You have to deal with all those problems. So it will eat more from your pocket than it would have had you just got a structural engineer from the onset. So my advice is, get yourself a structural engineer at all times whenever you're buying a property, to avoid finding yourself in predicaments where now you have to remove more money to renovate, to maintain a property that's supposedly supposed to be new, right? And with the agents fees, the first fees that I talked about were the valuation and the structural engineer fees. The buyer is the one who pays for them, because you're the one who's benefiting from them, you're the one who needs them. so you're the one who's going to pay as a buyer. But with agents fees, the seller is the one who is going to pay the agent's fees. How much are they going to pay? They're going to pay 5% of the sale price. So unlike the valuation fees, where the price is based on the value of the property, and it can be as little as 750 pula and go as high up as whatever amount depending on the value of the property. With agents fees, it's simply based on the sale price, which is 5%. So the agent is obligated or liable for 5% of the sale price, and an agent is the person who sold the property for you. So they're the ones who actually get the 5%. And then the next thing is the deposit and interest rates. I know that a lot of us are aware that you have to get, when you're getting a mortgage, you have to pay interest rates, you have to pay a deposit. But it's very important for you to have a down payment or a deposit of at least 10 to 30%, depending on which bank that you're using, simply because it will help you have some sort of equity. I know this is a song that I preach all the time in almost every video: down payment, down payment, down payment. But it is really, really important for you to have a down payment. It helps you have some sort of equity, and it can also reduce the interest rate that the bank gives you, simply because they assume that because you have something to lose in that property, you have money invested in that property, you are likely to pay the bond, the mortgage, without defaulting. You're likely not to give them any problems, so your interest rates would be lower. So the higher your down payment, the lower your interest rates. And then also with interest rates, they're also determined by the credit score. If you have a good credit score, so the higher your credit score, the lower your interest rates. If your loan term, if you are borrowing money for a longer period, that means you're of higher risk, and that means your interest rates will also be higher. So the longer the term, the higher the interest rates, right? This is just a few of the things that determine interest rates. It's not limited to this, so don't hold me, hey, you said the only 3 things that determine your interest rates is credit score, your down payment, and your loan term. That is so much more that goes into it. Even your age can determine the loan interest rate, right? And these are things that you have to pay on a monthly basis. Your interest rates is something that you're going to be paying on a monthly basis for that particular term of the loan, you know. So these are things that you need to be mindful of. So I spoke about your professional fees, which includes your valuation, structural engineer, and agent's fees. I spoke about the deposit and the interest rates. And the next thing to talk about would be the legal fees. Now, I know we know about transfer costs, which are your transfer duty and conveyancing fees. But did you know that there's actually a bond registration fee? Yes, there's that too. You have to pay for it. So when you are purchasing a property, you need it to be transferred. And if you're using a bank, you need the bank has to get it registered, the bond registered, right? And all these things are done by an attorney. So sometimes the attorney that is doing the transfer is a different attorney from the one that's registering the bond. So you're gonna pay 2 lawyers in some instances. And now get this, some of these costs, like your transfer duty and all these things, can be covered by your mortgage, but you don't necessarily have to have them covered by the mortgage, because you're gonna pay so much more. It can save you 100,000 if you actually pay it yourself. So always save up. I always tell you guys that save up for your down payment, your transfer duties, and all of that, because you already know your budget, it's easier for you to actually save up. Because with transfer duty, it's simple. If you're a first-time home buyer, you actually don't have to pay. You're exempted from transfer duty, so you'd probably only have to pay the registration fee. And then for the bond registration, you have to pay it. So the bank would give a certain attorney the rights to go register your bond, and then they'll inform you that, yeah, your bond is registered, and then it will be included in your monthly installments, your monthly repayment installments. So if you pay for these things on your own, you can save 100,000. Trust me, because these things, you're going to pay them over a long time with interest rates. If you pay them yourself right there and then cash, you don't have to pay interest rate for just simply getting your bond registered, you know. So we have transfer duty, we have bond registration costs, we have conveyancing costs, and the registration fee. So your transfer duty is based on the market value. Like I said, if you're a first-time home buyer, you are exempted from this. But if you are not a first-time home buyer, you are exempted from the first $1 million, and then the rest of the amount you have to pay 5%. So say for instance you're buying a property of 1.5 million. So the first $1 million is exempted. You don't have to pay any transfer duty for that. But the other 500,000, you have to pay 5% of that 500,000 to actually get the property transferred into your name. So who pays the transfer duty? You're the one who pays as the buyer. And then up next is the bond registration cost. The bond registration cost is determined by the value of the loan, right? The amount that you were borrowed, kind of a thing. Yeah, it's based on that. And then the conveyancing fees is based on the market value of the property. And yeah, all of these things are based on the market value of the property. So with lawyers, there's actually a fee schedule. In the same way as valuations, there's actually a fee schedule that is there, that is determined by the government, and lawyers follow it. So if your property is from $1 million to $2 million, for instance, you have to pay a certain price. Okay? So you can actually check those out for yourself and see, budget looking at those things, and so that you are aware. Because I think we know about transfer costs, we know about conveyancing costs, but bond registration costs, we don't know much about them. That's why I am here to tell you about them. And then we actually have administration fees. What are the administration fees? So administration fees are basically the fees that you will have to pay to get your paperwork done for you. This is at banks, this could be at the deeds registry, like I said, the registration fee. This could be with your lawyer. So these are just a small fee. It's never a lot. Could be 100 pula per month at the bank, or 550 pula with the lawyer. So it's just basically a fee for you to basically administer, to basically take care of the paperwork. Okay? It's just basically to take care of the paperwork, to process your loans, to get someone started on those things. So that's what administration fees are for. It's not a lot of money, but if the bank is the one that's taking care of this amount for you, you could find yourself paying so much more than you were initially supposed to pay. So if you save up for it, yes, save, you'll be able to cut down on more costs than you would have incurred had you not saved at all. And then next is your insurance fees. This is another cost that we tend to overlook, we don't know about. And insurance fees is your life cover, your home insurance. So life cover is normally meant for in case you die, God forbid, and you have a family and you don't want to place any kind of burden on them to take care of your mortgage when you are gone, but to secure that they actually have some sort of accommodation once you're gone, your investments are safe once you are gone, and your family is well taken care of when you're gone. So having a life insurance cover can actually assist you as a person, your family, so that they're actually taken care of, so that once you pass away, the bank doesn't need to repossess the property, but rather the insurance pays the rest of the fees that is left. So sometimes the bank would say, okay, fine, we need you to get life cover so that you are covered. We don't want you to have any problems once you've passed away. You can cover yourself, but sometimes the bank can say, we can cover you, but you still have to pay for this, even when the bank is saying this on a monthly basis. And then there's also home owner insurance. This basically would be for disasters, fires, to protect your home, because remember that the bank has some money invested in that property, so the last thing they want to do is actually lose out because there was a fire. So they'll always have an insurance to cover that. And there's also insurance in case you default. This is normally for yaka Jamvas, people who are buying through Jamvas, the government, or even government workers. The government already has some sort of insurance to say, if this person defaults, we are willing to pay that money, right? So there's that. There could be that insurance as well, and you also have to pay for it. Everything is just money everywhere. And then the last thing that I'm going to talk about is the levies, the moving in costs and the maintenance costs. Levies, I'm talking about the costs that you incur when you live in a property, especially sectional titles in estates and so forth. So when you're living in an estate, there are those contributions that you make on a monthly, on an annual basis, on a quarterly basis, depending on the type of agreement you have within that sectional title. So you'd have to pay them on a monthly basis, and if you're not aware about these costs or aware of these costs, it becomes a little heavy on you as a person. It becomes every month now I'm finding myself paying for water, electricity, utilities, and I also have to pay for these small things, security in the compound, for cleaning, whether you're using that part of the, because cleaning would be the common areas. Let's say that you're not using the pool, you still have to pay for cleaning nonetheless. So these are things that you need to take into consideration, especially when you are buying a sectional title property. And then the other thing is the moving in costs. Moving in costs are very heavy, especially if you did not budget for them, especially if you forgot about them. I don't think we don't know that we're going to be moving in. I just think that we forget about them, right? We think that that's such little things. I already have furniture where I live, so what more do I need? Hey guys, sometimes you find that maybe the curtains that you have at the house you're staying in today won't fit in the house that you bought. So these costs will weigh heavily on you, because the last thing you want to do is be living in a house without curtains, right? And we also have maintenance costs. Now these are more, the last three costs that I'm talking about are more of when you are a home owner now, when you've already acquired the property. So now you have to pay these costs. So with maintenance costs, sometimes after moving in, you realize that this property has leaks. And also the other thing is, when you are moving into a property, or when you're buying a property rather, we notice that it's not always that you'd find that the property is to your perfect taste or your perfect preference. So you have to change a few things here and there, here and there, here and there. And maintenance costs, no matter how small, they eat from your pocket. No matter it's you changing a window, it's you changing the color of the house, it's you putting in the kitchen fittings that you like. They weigh in so much and they take up so much from your pocket that if you didn't risk, so if you did not budget for all of these costs, they're going to weigh in heavily on you. That you're going to find yourself actually paying more than you were supposed to in terms of your interest, your mortgage, and just saving up for all of these costs and being aware of all of these costs can actually save you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So from me to you, my advice is draw up a budget based on all of these costs. Find out how much you are to pay, looking at the price of your property and the market value of your property and your budget. And that is it from me. Thank you so much, and until next time, goodbye guys.